Yes.
Okay. Before I would like to start my debate, I would like to say that my POI preference is raising your hand. If you are not chosen, that means I do not accept you instantly. So I would like to start my debate in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, what has already happened towards our debate? And first off, right on the bat, the first half of the proposition or proportion of our debate itself did not really mention about, first of all, the status quo that is currently happening. Second of all, is we did not view the current mechanism as well as the who itself. So before I would like to jump off all of my rebuttals, let me give my rebuttals towards the opening government. So what has the opening government actually said? The opening government itself already talked about their focus itself is actually the type of cyberbullying about sexual harassment and catcalling and harming and so on and so forth. We do need to understand that if our status quo is literally hybrid learning, or should I say offline learning, those kind of things, so it won't actually be this kind of bullying itself. And as well, if we are applying this kind of hybrid learning, it means that it is not cyberbullying. That means the cyber will be erased itself. Therefore, we don't understand what is the opening government trying to bring itself, and as well as their solution itself was actually trying to bring some mediator. If you want to focus on the cyberbullying, on the word cyberbullying itself, we do need to know that a cyber itself is actually related to online bullying, and you need to understand that bullying is related with two person. There is the victim and there is the prepator. Now, if we want to see the motion that is actually in our debate itself, we do not know the object who, because it only says cyberbullying. We don't know whether it's an individual towards an individual towards a group, or a group towards a group. That's what we're trying to focus on, because in this debate we did not, the first half proposition did not explain the who itself, whereas I heard that the opening government actually focused on the students and students bullying, whereas and at that point they do believe that those kind of things should be handled. But I would like to explain why did you actually brought about this kind of cyberbullying students by students. If you want to understand the online or the social media that's literally happening in the internet itself, there are peoples right now, the netizen itself tends to actually hide their name or use different kind of names. They don't use their real name, which is why we don't know whether the preparators itself is actually a student or not, except if the cyberbullying itself is such as commenting towards the students or commenting their looks and etc. If you want to talk about the sexual harassment, if it literally happens in sexual bullying and in cyberbullying itself, it means that the victim has a proof towards the teacher that those students did this and did that, which is why I don't think that it is the teachers, it's the one that the schools can handle, but rather than other police department, because the name is written. But as we know that social media, most of us do hide our personal account and our real account. So that's what we need to focus on. Now, the second one is I like to throw my rebuttals towards the closing government, whereas the closing government said that the limitation that they actually focus on is the high school itself, because of course it's related towards all kind of sexual harassment that you literally mentioned. So as what you see, basically when you talk about curriculum, Merdeka curriculum or independent curriculum, there is no relation towards this kind of motion, because an independent curriculum, it's about erasing science social classes. So it's not, it has no relation towards this kind of motion, which is why I think the closing government is out of the topic. Now let's see the bench, our first bench, which is the opening opposition. Whereas the opening opposition, I understand that the opening opposition tends to disclaim that the opening government did not explain the mechanism itself, but you as the opening opposition as well did not explain the mechanism that is currently happening, but only gave the solution, but we did not focus on who is the person. So we need to understand that the 5W and plus one how itself, the what, why, where, who, when, and how must be clear in our debate. So this debate is now I would go into this kind of argument that we need to focus on. So if this kind of motion, if we need to focus on cyberbullying, of course our team believe that cyberbullying is related with the student and the society that their name is unknown. When we talk about or their name is known itself, because if you want to focus on this kind of motion, if the businesses that the students is happening is not related towards the school, then I don't think that they need to actually have a punishment itself, because you need to understand that a punishment, you need to understand what kind of punishment will you prepare, because there is punishment where you need to publicly say that this is the perpetrator and this is the victim, and as well as you need to hide the victim or hide the perpetrator. You need to see that the punishment does it affect a long term or short term? If it's announced, because we know at the end of the day there will be people who's gossiping, which is why there will people be gossiping. And if even the school punish the cyberbullying, also the school's reputation also the school's qualification and accreditation will decrease itself, which is why you need to understand what kind of punishment will you actually prepare. And our side of our house says that the school is not the subject, but as well as the officials that will handle this kind of motion. That we need to understand that our status quo right now is the hybrid learning, and also the officials tend to handle those kind of motion, which is why by the end we need to focus on we need to really focus on if the school literally have the rights to actually punish, because in this kind of status quo, the school is a platform of education. When it comes to bullying, of course the students the schools needs to handle what is known as bullying. But if it's cyberbullying, especially that's related outside of the school, then it's literally it is out of the topic, it is out of the school environment, which is why those who will be handling is also outside, because the student only brings the name of the school, or should I say the teacher, for example, if the teacher tends to have cyberbullying, because we don't know who's the who in this kind of debate, which is why my team focus on the students and the society. And at that point we need to understand that afterwards, where my second speaker will talk about what kind of solution that's going to be provided, and we are proudly to oppose.
What thing? Solution? Oh my god.
Agak ganteng aku.
Which one?
Aku udah nyentuh ini. Masih rekam.